1,500 ground-pounding horsepower. 10 trucks. 1 winner. It's that simple. Last time, the Triple H Dome provided many surprises. The new Nitro showed off some new moves.
Don't think you've seen the last of Goldberg, Motor Madness fans.
But Gravedigger walked off with the hardware and the checkered flag. Now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Hogger and Dogger's full-on field of favorites.
My, do they love the monster trucks here in Houston, Texas. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Astrodome. I'm Mike Hogwood along with Scott Douglas. Scott, a little bit different course than we saw in Minneapolis. This is a U-turn. Tell us about it and tell us what kind of driving we have to have out of these drivers tonight.
Well, the big contrast, of course, is when we were in Minneapolis 2 weeks ago here on Motor Madness, pure horsepower won the day, and Gravedigger got the job done with Todd Frolick behind the wheel. Here, horsepower is still important, but you've got to be able to handle the turn. Your truck's got to handle. The driver has a little bit more to do than just hammer the throttle. That brings other factors into play. It should be wide open tonight.
And we got a great lineup of trucks. We'll start with Michigan's Larry Jarzel. He's at the command of Prowler.
Reptoid, always a factor on these turning courses. Jim Jack out of Florida, ready to fly.
Missouri's Guy Wood will be piloting Bulldozer here in Houston tonight. Watch out for him.
Coming down from Reno, Nevada, look out for Joe Cipher in the Airborne Ranger.
And from West Virginia, the Mountaineer, Robbie Gray. He's had some great runs in that truck.
And the big black cat from Nashville, Tennessee, Alan Pizzo's Predator.
Mike and Scott, that is an impressive field. And we're here with one of today's favorites, Scott Hartsock, who drives the incredible monster truck Gunslinger.
This track is fantastic. We've got a ski mogul over here that we have to jump another mogul with. Come into this sharp turn down here, address this ramp that we have here into the cars to the finish line. It's going to be a horsepower track, no doubt about it. It's going to be a driver's track, that's for sure. I mean, with all these jumps we have around here. And it's going to be everything you can do to drive a monster truck around this course this evening.
But you know, they put on one impressive show. So Mike and Scott, I think this guy is ready to roll.
I think he is too. Our full-on field. How about Gravedigger? He's a favorite here in Houston. That's Pablo Hoffaker who'll be at the controls.
Let's also, though, when we take a look at the Digger, remember, he's coming in out of Kill Devil Hills, North Carolina. There are some guys defending the home turf. Ron Nelson out of Conroe, Texas. The busted loose machine will try to put that Chevrolet in front here in the Astrodome.
And let's not forget from nearby Spring, Texas, Scott Stevens and King Crunch. Watch out for Scott tonight. I think he's got something for the rest of the field here. Going to be interesting to see King Crunch. And we'll be back and get racing on this unique course in Houston's Astrodome when we return with TNN's Motor Madness Monster Jam.
Oh, you want this now, huh? Yeah. You want this?
Welcome back to the USHRA Wrenchhead.com Monster Jam for parts online all the time. They're excited here in the Astrodome in Houston. And you know what? I think those might be King Crunch fans. King Crunch, the subject of our jam pack.
I love where we live up there in the woodlands. It's great. You know, if you need anything, definitely Houston has everything you need. But, you know, as soon as you get off that freeway up there, you're out in the country. You know, there's chickens running around, and you know, you can go outside and do whatever you want.
Scott Stevens is a 20-year veteran of monster truck racing. His story begins in Spring, Texas, 30 miles north of Houston, and worlds away from the hurly-burly common to mega cities. As owner of Texas Off-Road Performance, Scott has bolted lift kits and oversized tires to nearly every off-road vehicle in South Texas.
Texas Off-Road Performance is the retail end of the two companies. Scott Stevens Racing, LLC, is the King Crunch part of the side of the company. It has its own two separate identities.
It goes back to corporate America. You gotta have some fun because you know, every year we're spending $300,000 or $400,000 out of our pocket, and we do have something here. The whole sport, you know, pace is put together with the TNN coverage and a live audience. It's real attractive.
Scott's son Colt, an accomplished motocross rider, may one day take part in the King Crunch organization.
I did when I was little, and it got burned out, and then about a year ago it started coming back, so I wanted to learn more about it.
It may not be him running it, but be part of the team, you know, because I mean, the business here, for what we see, is getting bigger and bigger as far as not only racing, but making the products for the racers.
Oh, you know, we're hopefully here still at the top, you know, hopefully kick and tail a little bit better, and, you know, and hopefully there'll be 2 or 3 more T2000s sitting out there. You know, there's a lot of things we would like to look at, you know, as far as bringing in, you know, more show to the, you know, the sport. You know, some of the motocross guys are bringing in their motorhomes and stuff, and you know, that's just something that maybe down the road, you know, a big nice bus or something.
And here in the first round, King Crunch, Scott Douglas has his work cut out for him.
He'll take on Scott Hartsock and the Gunslinger, no doubt about it. This was the truck of, above all, I guess, in 1999 on Motor Madness, who busted through the pack and became a main event top dog, winning truck, taking events. Now King Crunch wants to knock him back down off the mountain right here in Spring, Texas. Of course, he loves being close to home in the Astrodome.
King Crunch, Scott Stevens, Spring, Texas, Scott Hartsock out of Florida, and Gunslinger. It's Gunslinger in the near lane. While they're running, let's talk about the course. They've got to make a turn here. This is different than we saw in Minneapolis the last couple of weeks. This is very, very tricky and difficult.
And indeed, Scott Stevens had some trouble with the turn. Hartsock's got the lead in the Gunslinger, but I'll tell you what, Stevens is coming back. He's not giving it up. And they are virtually even in the turn. Gunslinger, though, look at the power Scott Hartsock has in that, way out of control, but Gunslinger was able to get on the binders. I mean, Scott Stevens flew across the end of the racetrack. What a race.
Scott Stevens gave it everything he had, and the crowd loved it, and they appreciated it. Just not enough for Gunslinger.
Taking a look right now at Scott Stevens and King Crunch. First turn, he had a problem. You'll see as he comes in there, he kind of clips the turning buoy, the turning tire, and that cost him just a little bit. So by the time he gets to the end of the straightaway to make the next turn, he's about a truck length behind, and here's where Scott Hartsock was really able to open it up on him.
Look here as he gets a little bit loose and sideways.
Wow.
Let's check down with Jennifer Goodwin.
So, Scott, tell me what happened. I mean, that was amazing.
You know, I felt something break. You know, it's just, what did I could do? So I said, I knew I wasn't going to hurt nobody. Let's just hang on for a second, have fun, and make the people enjoy it. And it was fun. It's exciting. You know, we didn't hurt not too many parts. We'll be back in a minute. And, you know, just want these people in Houston to have fun tonight.
Oh, we had some fun in that first run. Here's a good matchup. Predator Alan Pizzo out of Nashville, Tennessee, in that 98 Chevy, engine size about the same amount of horsepower with the West Virginia Mountaineer.
1999 Ford is what Robbie Gray brings to town out of Ripon, West Virginia. And again, he's got that big Ford engine. Let's see if he can hang with the very popular, very experienced Predator. Now, Alan Pizzo's been in this monster truck game since he was 15 years old. I mean, he basically has grown up on the monster truck tracks. Here he goes.
Pretty even at the start. Now remember, this course a little bit longer than most of the monster truck courses. They have to make the U-turn, and Mountaineer makes a great turn, but he's not able to get going. Looks like something has happened to Mountaineer on the far lane.
You know, the USHRA and the Pace Motorsports staff have just done a tremendous job.
Now Predator
in making this a full course. And
Predator in trouble.
Exactly how much they each have to run here, and it's all going to be Mountaineer at the end. Wow.
Something might have broken on Predator. We thought for a moment Mountaineer had slowed down and Predator was out in the lead, but it looked like something broke on that truck.
Well, we'll take a look at the run for Predator here. We'll maybe see what the problem is. We'll keep an eye out for it. And as mentioned, they've really taken the floor of the Astrodome and made this course one that is like being in a huge outside facility because the trucks have to make so many turns and do so much a straight course. Now here Predator seemed okay. Something right there. I mean, he just kind of locked it up. Something when he landed, and we haven't heard. I don't know if what he could have thrown at that point. The engine seemed to die. He got it fired back up, but he was done at that point. The Mountaineer pretty much was able to run it from that point on.
Predator with a problem. Alan Pizzo, a tough break here in the first round of this Monster Jam competition at the Houston Astrodome.
I know that's not how Alan wanted to start year 2000 here on Motor Madness. Wow. bad brake, but you know, this guy will get it back together, and apparently the front steering is
we just got word that there's no front steering, and you can't run one of these trucks like that, not at all. Here's Mountaineer's run. Now, Scott, watch when he makes the turn. He really slows down a lot. I mean, he had quite a jolt there over the first set of cars. Not exactly the best of turns. He slowed down a lot right there.
Well, he'd overturned it at one point. Now he's trying to keep things going and get some momentum reestablished. And at that point, I thought he was in trouble. But it was at this point, right now, that in the other lane, Predator has basically come to a rest. And Robbie Gray sees that as he's turning. He can go ahead and finish strong and get himself into the next round.
Jennifer Goodwin is caught up with first-round winner Robbie Gray.
All right, so how was the track?
The track's really good. It's a really hard track, but it's a long track. So you can win in 2 or 3 different spots. So if you make a mistake in one place, you can get lucky and pick it up somewhere else.
Well, I think talent and luck both come hand in hand.
And we'll see more talent and luck as we continue with the first round of Monster Jam here in Houston. Back in a moment on Motor Madness.
This presentation of
Sold-out crowd in the Astrodome. You know, our two pit reporters, Dan Moriarty and Jennifer Goodwin, talked about the risk these drivers take.
Hey, Dan. Okay, I've done some, mountain climbing and some pretty athletic endeavors that are kind of risky. So I'm used to putting my neck out on the line. How about you?
Jen, Risk is my middle name. R-I-S-K. No, it's not. And I wouldn't do a thing that these guys do. No matter what we all do in our life for risk, it pales in comparison to what these guys do every time they get in their monster trucks and hit the track. Let me tell you, these guys take risks.
Well, there's a lot of risk out here. You've got a piece of machinery that costs $150,000 to build. And every time you go to the starting line, you've always got a risk of tearing something up.
In the racing, we try to keep the truck in control as good as we can. If you're not on the track, you're not going to win anyhow.
We come out and do our race floor, Matt, and we want to be able to go as fast as we can in a competitive level to actually win the race.
Every part is not $5 or $10. It's either $100 or $1,000. So some of the tracks kind of get rough and parts do get broken.
Freestyle is really demanding on these vehicles because what that style racing actually comes up to be is that you take the vehicle out and run it as hard as you can to actually just show the crowd what your particular vehicle can do.
We put it all on the line.
Now let's face it, the harder you run the trucks, the more pain it's going to take to these vehicles.
You got to watch out for the black and green wrecking machine because we don't care about risk.
There is a lot of risk for these drivers. There's Bustin' Loose. Remember that last year at St. Louis?
Yeah, at the World Finals. Got it up. Boy, he did everything he could to save it, but on the lid she goes. We're going to see Bustin' Loose in action.
Yeah, Bustin' Loose, driven by Ron Nelson. Another one of our Texas drivers out of Conroe, Texas, in that 98 Chevy. A little bit underpowered in this machine, going up against Bulldozer. And, you talk about power. Now, this is not exactly one of those